Hello YouTube, this is Dutch Bushcraft Knives, and today I want to give you a short tutorial about how to sharpen a kitchen knife. So as we can see, we've got a large kitchen knife. This is from a Japanese sushi restaurant. They use this knife to cut tuna, so it needs to be really sharp. And a sharp knife is a safe knife, so it's always important to get to keep your knife nice and sharp. In this video I will be using Waterstones. So this will be a tutorial on how to use Waterstones. So let's see what sharpness this knife has at this moment. As you can see, it cannot cut paper. From the factory it has a small secondary bevel. That is to get these knives from the production line pretty fast with decent edge. We want to get rid of that, and that's why we are using Waterstones, because it's really easy to get rid of these micro bevels by using a Waterstone. And we're going to replace that secondary bevel, or the micro bevel, with a convex, which is equally sturdy in edge retention, but it's also a very good cutter and easy to resharpen. And a convex is actually the natural grind you would get by using Waterstones. So for this tutorial I'll be using kind of a starter set. I'll be using a 400 stone, which is here at the moment, a 1000 stone, a 3000 stone, and a leather strop with compound to finish it off. So this is quite a basic set I'll be using today, and we're gonna see what kind of results we can get with this kind of starter set. These are Chosera stones from Sharpen. These are really high grade and very hard stones, which I personally really like. We don't need slurry on these stones, and we don't need to soak them, so we can just wet these stones and go. So that's really nice for your kitchen. So first of all, we want to get rid of this. We're gonna want to get rid of this secondary bevel. We'll be using the 400 stone with this. So I'll be putting some water on it, not soaking it. These stones do not need soaking. The soaking can even damage these stones, so you should never soak them. Alright. One other thing we have here is this diamond plate, which we'll be using to keep our sharpening stone straight. It's also very important, because a concave stone, you can see on this knife, they sharpen it themselves, and it will deform the edge. So you should always have a straight stone. Alright, let's get started with the sharpening process. So, I personally like to grab the handle like this and put my fingers on it like this, on the back, on the spine of the blade, so I can really control the angle. And there's not really a certain angle you should always keep. It's different with different kinds of steel. You just need experience with it. And higher grade steels can be sharpened in a lower or smaller angle than low quality blades. Of course you can always sharpen a low quality blade in a very low angle and a very small angle, but it won't keep the edge as long as it should be, unless you don't care to sharpen it every few days. Alright, so let's get started. I'll place my knife like this in an angle to the stone, and checking the angle. I'm using quite a small angle, I think about 15 degrees or something. And I'll be using as much as the stone as I can with every stroke. So as you can see, on this 400 grit stone, and I keep my fingers quite close to the bevel, to keep this knife in the same angle. And you don't need to be really strict about the angle, because the knife can fluctuate a bit, and that is what will create the small convex, which we want on this knife. You can actually check if you're keeping the same angle by hearing the sound the stone makes on your knife. As you can hear, this is the same sound with every strike, with every stroke. If I raise the edge, the sound will be different. I will do it. You can hear a different sound. This is the sound I want, not this sound. Alright. And on this particular stone, we don't want to keep this slurry, because this actually prevents prevents the knife from sharpening properly. So we will clean that slurry off. With softer stones, the slurry is the thing that actually sharpens the knife. With these hard stones, you don't need that slurry. You don't even want that slurry. Now, as you can see, I've turned the knife, and now I cannot have my hands the same as I did the other side. So I will need to keep my index finger right here and my thumb on the spine to control this blade. And I will also keep my hand on the blade itself. And don't worry too much about these two sides being exactly the same angle. You will get the hang of it eventually. Just practice with your cheaper knives. And it's quite hard in the beginning, because you cannot see the angle you're holding when you're holding it like this, but you can see the angle when you're holding it like that. So it's a process to get used to. And as you can see, with these strokes, I cannot get all of the bevel because of the handle preventing me to make that last step. So what I'm doing when sharpening this side is I'm turning the blade a bit to get all the edge sharpened equally. You can really tell that this is a fast stone because the slurry is piling up. The blackish slurry. It's all stew particles from the knife. So I'm cleaning up the bevel now to check where I am on the process, and that secondary bevel was already disappearing, but we're not done yet. Also, stone sharpening will eventually give you some scratches on your blade, but you can erase them by polishing them away, or just don't mind it. I mean, a knife is made to be used. It's a tool. So don't worry about scratches too much. When you get more into sharpening, you can buy really high grit stones. My highest grit is 10,000 grit, and you can really polish out the scratches. And as you can probably hear, the sound will differ a bit because this part of the blade is small while this is quite thick, so the sound is always a bit different. But don't be afraid to sharpen your knife. Just practice, and eventually you will get that hair-popping sharpness you want in your kitchen. Alright, I will stop filming and we'll get back when we're moving on to the 1000 grit stone. So as you can see, we got rid of that secondary bevel and it's now practically a secondary convex, but it doesn't have that steep angle that is now convex like this. So it cuts a lot better. So we can now proceed, now that we have the geometry, we can proceed to the 1000 stone. But first, we'll make sure this stone keeps flat. So I'll be using this 150 grit diamond stone and just flattening this 400 grit Chosera. So as you can see, the color of the stone is equal now, so I can tell this stone is flat. If you're not sure, you can always make stripes with a pencil on it, and if the pencil stripes in the middle keep there, you know your stone is a little bit concave and needs more flattening. Alright, the 1000 stone. Alright. Your kitchen will get very wet, but it's easy to clean with a towel, but use an old towel because those steel stains are pretty hard to get rid of. You can really hear this stone. It's a lot smoother than that 400 stone we used. It doesn't make really that much noise anymore. It's like we're polishing already. Well, I think 1000 grit is still pretty much sharpening that bevel. If you correctly sharpen your knife on 400 grit, it will already be able to shape a little bit. If you get rid of all the dirt it is. So I'm switching sides. And as you can see, I'm making these long strokes over the whole stone, because when you're just sharpening in the middle, the stone will get concave pretty fast. So I'm trying to use as most surface as the stone as I can possibly as I possibly can. So yeah, we'll sharpen a bit more, I think about 5 minutes on this 1000 stone, and then I will show you the 3000 stone. So we're now done with the 1000 stone. First gonna clean this off. And again, going to make sure this stone is nice and straight. And as you can see, this stone is not straight. You can see the corners are light green while the mid part is still a bit darkish green because of the steel particles that are still in there. So we're going to continue doing this until this stone is completely flat again. So as you can see, we've already progressed quite a bit. I will check in back when it's done. Alright, so I'm done polishing this stone. As you can see, it has a nice equal color again. So we know it's straight. So I'll let this stone dry. I'm not going to put it back in the package yet. We want it to completely dry before doing it back into the package, because the stone can crack if you put it away moist or too moist. So now we're moving on to 3000, and my experience, this 3-stone set is perfect for beginners. You don't really need to go any higher than 3000 grit to get a really sharp knife if you have a leather strop with compound on it. Yeah, this is just a really nice combination. The 400 stone is coarse enough to get rid of the damage on the edge, while 3000 is high enough to really polish up that blade, the bevel. Alright, so got a knife, and you can really hear that this stone is really smooth. It's like skating on ice. And we're using this 3000 stone to get that fine sharp edge and also polish out some of the scratches. We can get out all of the scratches with this 3000 stone, but I think we can do a good job. Ooh, can you hear that? That means there's a larger particle on the stone. You don't want that, it can scratch your edge. So I'm going to clean this stone again. And I'm going to clean the knife. Alright. That's better. keeping a steady angle is less important when you're doing the very high grits, because this takes off minimum amount of steel, and as long as you keep the angle low, it won't really ruin your edge. Of course, you don't want to lift the angle up too high, but you can also lower the angle to get rid of the scratches you made with the lower grit stones. I really love this 3000 stone. It's a really hard stone, really smooth, and it gives you a really nice finish. Full 3000 grit, that is. And personally, I always go to 5000 or with some high grade knives, really high end knives, 10,000 grit. But I won't say it's necessary. But I kind of like sharpening and giving those knives a nice shiny finish. Those last strokes were to get rid of any burr. You don't want the burr on your edge. And I'll show you. As you can see, it's already a mirror polish on that apex bevel. Alright, and now I'm going to take a little bit of time to even lower my angle and polish out some of the scratches, just to make the knife look a little bit better for the sushi restaurant. And if you have to really deliver or want to keep a very clean looking knife without scratches, you can always use sandpaper to get rid of any scratches. Just go up to 3000 grit sandpaper on your blade to polish out those scratches, and it will give you a nice silk finish. And of course, there's another way to prevent scratching, and that is to live with a higher angle, with a bigger angle. If you increase the angle enough, you can still make it convex, but you can prevent scratching the surface of the blade. But that's up to you. This sushi restaurant needs really sharp knives, so I'm keeping a very low angle. First time I sharpened for them, I put on a little bit of a larger angle, because these knives are not that great in quality, so they won't hold their edge for that long. So I thought I'll put on a slightly larger angled apex, but they said they needed a smaller angle. They were still really sharp, those knives, but they had too many friction with the sushi, so I needed to lower the angle for them to be able to properly cut the sushi. Sushi is very sticky, so you really need a sharp knife. And they also cut it while it's still in a plastic wrap, so they really need a sharp knife. Alright, going to check out this knife in a bit, see what we've got, and then check the sharpness after stropping, of course. So as you can see, there are some scratches, but I'm also going to get rid of some of the scratches by just stropping this knife flat on the leather with compound. Alright, going to dry this knife. I'm going to take my leather strop. Now I've got two types of compound on here. I've got the black compound and I've got white compound. Black compound from Bog River is around 3000 grit, so it's the same as this stone, but it still gives a little bit keener edge than a stone. And this is about 12,000 grit, the white compound. So I keep my strop with one hand and strop the knife in a slightly larger angle than I hold the knife on the stones, just to increase that convex a little bit more, not too much. And you can also keep that angle by listening to the sound. Alright, a few more on this side, a few more on this side, and now I'm going to just leave my strop and use my hand not to cut the edge into the leather and polish up this blade a little more on this compound, just for the looks. You don't need to do that. Go to the white compound, just regular stropping again, and that angle, so you touch the apex edge with the leather and the compound. Now I actually need a clean piece of paper because the paper I've got here is wet. It's no good to cut. And stropping your knife also gives the edge a little more durability, in my opinion, in my experience. And you can also use this strop to sharpen up your knife every day after cooking. It really keeps your edge sharper a lot longer. And again, I'm going to use this to polish it again a little bit. Alright, I'll show you first. As you can see, that underpart which we sharpened is all nice and shiny, and those scratch marks are a lot less visible than they were. As you can see, a nice mirror finish there on that bevel. So, let me get a piece of paper. Alright, didn't cut that because I want you to see that I do this straight after stropping, nothing, no cheating about it, no 6,000 stone afterwards or something. It's just falling off. As you can see, I can even make those kind of curves with this knife, this sharpness. This is only from 3000 grit and stropping. So that's really nice and sharp. I can even show you that it will probably shave very well. As you can see, those hairs are popping off like this is some kind of razor blade. My girlfriend likes this, not. Alright, so yeah, this is how you can sharpen your kitchen knives with regular Waterstones. This is still a little bit dirty, I'll get that cleaned, but yeah. A very sharp knife, very useful tool in the kitchen now. Thank you for watching. Hope you liked this video. If you liked it, please push the like button and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.